Welcome to another Cut It Out edition of the Life Seminars podcast with Allison Rees.
This Cut It Out is called To Discipline or Disciple. What is discipline? One definition is to obtain obedience by using punishment and reward. If you think that word still fits, discipline, you might want to cut it out. It might be time for a new word, or at least a new twist to that word. Another view of discipline is to teach in such a way that encourages self-discipline in our children. In that case, the word needs to change to disciple. To disciple somebody means that we mentor them by modeling respect, self-discipline, and maturity. They become our disciple when they want to emulate us. This requires awareness of our emotional states and the impact they have on our children. Healthy mentorship also means we have clarity around our own personal boundaries and the boundaries of others. To disciple also means recognizing that along with how we behave, we must be accountable for how we communicate. Words are powerful, and we can easily harm our kids' self-esteem by labeling them, making assumptions, or putting them down. Or even when we praise them for doing things we want rather than encouraging them to develop internal values and goals. When this happens, our kids lose touch with the ability to learn what we might actually be trying to teach them, and more importantly, are derailed from the natural course of development of conscience and responsibility. Likewise, when we don't actively listen to our children, we are role modeling what not to do. If your kids don't listen to you, start by showing them what listening actually looks like. Effective communication is not about a set of skills and something that you do. It's a way of being and having an awareness of boundaries. What issues belong to who? Do I really have to fix this person's feelings? Are they responsible for how I feel, and do I blame them? Do I allow myself to project my own fearful thoughts onto them? When we can get clear with the deeper part of communication, then the skills come to us easily. Recognizing the do's and don'ts of communication makes much more sense when we get the deeper piece of this. Allow yourself to have well-intentioned, messy communication. If the skill takes over, we lose our connection because we're too much in our head. So keep learning and growing yourself. Somebody needs to disciple our children.
Where did you come up with the concept of discipling instead of disciplining your children?
Well, when I speak to groups of parents and ask them what the word discipline means, they often look up at the ceiling and to the side and come up with words kind of from the past: punishment, spanking, control, shame. A lot of really negative words are used for discipline. So then I say, well, what do you think of now, today, as a parent, when you think of the word discipline? And what I hear them say is they're thinking about mentoring, they're thinking about getting their kids involved in decision making, they are looking at their own behavior and how they communicate, and you know, I think parents are really getting today that it's who they are as people that makes the difference. And so, you know, our kids need to like us, and if they like us, they might actually want to emulate us. And at the end of the day, being a parent is about growing ourselves.
What do you mean by growth?
Well, when we become parents, we, you know, if we're awake, realize that we have a profound influence on our child and how they feel about themselves. And so I think it's when we have children that we learn a lot about our own issues. For example, we learn about the fact that we may not have as much patience as we thought we did. We might look at our own control. We might be shocked at the intensity of our emotions, and then we learn that our words have a tremendous impact on our children, and that we want our kids to have healthy self-esteem. So really, at the end of the day, the only way to nurture that is to nurture it in ourselves. And so therefore, we learn a lot about our own emotions and our own feelings, and we learn how to change the way we're communicating, and we're dropping a lot of negative behavior patterns that we grew up with. And while we're doing all of this, we're often getting in touch with how we were raised, and for many parents, realizing that some of it was hard on them. And so there is kind of a grieving process that people can go through when they come to terms with some of the things they didn't get growing up. I mean, at the end of the day, we really want to give our kids as much as we can, and so we learn with our kids.
This has been another Cut It Out edition of the Life Seminars podcast with Allison Rees. Thank you for listening.